My poem, Fittest, dedicated to an egalitarian democratic world. Every time I saw a small bird nesting, having babies without doctors, nurses, and hospital bills, surviving and enjoying life in storm, snow, and rain, without additional clothes, heating, or cooling, I knew humans could survive, but not the fittest. Every time I saw herd Canadian geese flying at night, alone or as a team for a distant flight, navigating towards destination without compass or light, I knew humans could survive, but not the fittest. Every time I watched a small spider creating web out of nothing except own sap and legs, then resting in the center to catch prey, enjoying own creation at its best, I knew humans could survive, but not the fittest. Every time a seed germinated in the soil or water, grew as plant or trees withstanding disasters, shed leaves for the winter only to be reborn in vigor, I knew humans could survive, but not the fittest. Every time I looked at small sparrows playing in the snow, when I was feeling cozy in heated home among clothes, I knew humans could survive, but not the fittest. Fittest are natural knowers who exercise self-power without unlearning instincts to technological slave work. Endless dependency only makes humans enslaved and weaker as generations strive for expensive and competitive future. Birds traveling thousands of miles without rest, navigating at night over deserts and oceans. Even a fruit fly does everything more than I crave: eat, meet, multiply, and even fly without much rest. After I leave, many animals and birds will outlive me. Shrubs and trees I planted would be surviving and surfing merrily without disturbing and destroying natural harmony, of course, if they are not victims of modern industry. Thus the slogan "survival of the fittest" resonates very well with eugenic quest for aristocratic exploitation of the masses, with population control whenever needed, encouraging supremacist ideology at its best. Darwin's theory is flawed with fundamental mistake, yet remains unchallenged in royal heritage. Discovered while traveling on Royal HMS Beagle, visiting American and African islands, collecting samples, hypothesized in Origin of Species the survival of the fittest, without realizing evolution doesn't leave any trace. Poems by Kolki. The ideology behind the axiomatic belief that leads to the systematic elimination of groups of people can be traced back to the work of Reverend Thomas Malthus, 1766 to 1834. Thomas Malthus, an employee of the British East India Company, had determined that the world was too small for mankind, that mankind's population needs to be scaled back artificially. Francis Galton, 1822 to 1911, the cousin of Charles Darwin, added to this theory on the strength of Darwin's theory of evolution by proposing that the culling of humanity should logically begin by eliminating the weakest elements of the society, such as the poor, the sick, and the primitive elements. His proposition became the doctrine of eugenics, which in turn was used by many agencies to shape the axioms of humanity to enable large-scale murder. Eugenics, the racist pseudoscience determined to wipe away all human beings deemed unfit, preserving only those who conform to a Nordic stereotype, was born in England as a scientific curiosity in the Victorian age, 1863, but rapidly baptized the horrifying American roots of Nazi eugenics. Charles Darwin. What's wrong with Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. After visiting few South American and Caribbean islands to see evolution, evolution is subtle, doesn't leave any trace, which creation does. Thus, his theory is based upon his biblical vision of creation and not evolution. My fellow world citizens, there is every cause for celebrating united efforts towards one world. But fellow world citizens must stand tall to ensure that world is not ruled from the underworld with mafia-like covert intelligence agencies, Bilderberg-like secret aristocratic constitutional monarchy, and Vatican-like intruding evangelical supremacy, whose only aim is to continue oligarchy. God bless our world towards peaceful coexistence among cultural plurality.